Oh, it's a beautiful day today in Night City. Welcome back, everyone. Let's talk about the latest happenings around Cyberpunk 2077, including new confirmations from CD Projekt RED about the upcoming patch 1.3, because we have official stuff here from the community manager. Plus, the devs answer some of your biggest questions about the game and its future. Plus, also something is happening at CD Projekt RED. There's an organizational transformation going on right now, so let's talk about it. So let's do this. Hey everyone, what's happening? Open World Games here. Hope you're doing good, and we are talking about more Cyberpunk 2077. First of all, starting out with this question right here: where is patch 1.3? A lot of us are scratching our heads wondering that one. Now, Martian Moment, community manager of Cyberpunk 2077, goes on to confirm it's on its way. So officially it's being worked on, and we should be hearing more about this patch very, very soon. We've only really heard about leaks and of course officially stuff from Powells, the lead quest designer. He has been super busy with his streams lately, and yeah, he's been answering a bunch of community questions as well. But yeah, he has even said that free DLC and new patches are coming up, but patch 1.3 is happening. Apparently it's going to be roughly about 38 gigabytes according to recent data mines and things like that. But let's go ahead and go into the recent answers from Powells, who did of course answer some of the biggest questions from the community on his live streams. And there's some really good stuff here. First of all, we really need to talk about this organizational transformation that is happening at CD Projekt RED. Someone asked what is going on at the company, and he went on to say it is taking some time, but it is happening. So there's some sort of restructuring going on, and that could be in part because, of course, the recent launch failure that was, Cyberpunk 2077, and also they're wanting to develop two AAA titles like Cyberpunk alongside one another and have communication between the studio. So that's another reason that's likely happening. Now, he went on to say the process of doing this is actually very complex because the studio is so big. He spoke about new team members coming in and how they are handling training. It's something new that they are doing. More mentoring is going on at CD Projekt RED than ever before, alongside internal workshops as well. So that's really cool to hear that they are taking that very serious when it comes to new talent coming on board the company. Now, he also was asked about expanding existing quest lines and stories, because a lot of people want to see more from these characters that they've grown to love in this game. So he did say that they've had multiple discussions with the team about this, that there's no confirmations on what is going on there, but the question is, when is it enough? He says, as a dev, you have to say to yourself, we need to wrap it up. So it seems like we might be getting new storylines and quests. That's my speculation right there, and perhaps even new characters. Now, when it comes to repeating cars and NPCs, they have released patches and that sort of thing to address those issues, but they are tinkering with code for this and continuing to do so because they have seen I guess you would say weird anomalies related to that in terms of seeing that problem still persisting in the open world. Now, he was asked about why are there no apartments in this game, or multiple apartments from the get-go. It seemed like that was something that was going to be in the game. So they said they wanted to keep with the Merc lifestyle, and having V own multiple apartments, or real estate wouldn't make any sense for the story or tone of the game. However, Powells has his own personal opinions, which should not be considered official, by the way, but he said he would like to personally see more from apartments and real estate and that sort of thing. And me too. That's what I would love to see. I personally love that sort of thing in games, and I think open world gamers do in particular as well. Now, let's talk about how confident CD Projekt RED are feeling right now about Cyberpunk, and more importantly, its future. So they are feeling fairly confident about the future of the game right now, based on what they're doing secretly and internally that we have not seen so far. So for the future, they plan to improve a lot, of course, not only for patches, but also for future games beyond Cyberpunk, which is really interesting. They're taking a lot of the stuff that they've learned from the launch of Cyberpunk and putting it into future projects as well. Now, let's talk more about better optimization for this game, because that's something that they've continued to do with every patch. Now, Powells confirms this. He says, each patch contains updates for several areas of the game usually, and optimization is always one of the things that gets updated. It's not the easiest thing to update, however, it takes time. So this is one of the more time-consuming things to update with patches and to address, it seems. Now, he also did go on to speculate what he wants from Cyberpunk as well. And this is really interesting. He wants more gigs and open world quests to be more connected than ever before, and the city needs to feel more alive. So it kind of aligns with what we have been hearing with feedback from the community as well. So hopefully we do actually see a lot of this stuff. And according to the recent leaks and things like that, we will be getting new gigs, new story quests, weapons, clothing, perhaps even like apartment customization as well. Now, he was also asked about weapon DLC. All he could say is that they have various things planned, and he could not elaborate at all on that whatsoever. Now, what's interesting is they are actually in contact with the modding community, and they want to support the modding community going forward, but they don't have of course, the red kit available to this modding community. You know, The Witcher has its own kit, so they're trying to get that to the community, but it's a ton of work. But they really do believe in the modding community, and in fact, you know, if you go to Nexus Mods, there's some really impressive stuff that community has been working on. Now, he also did touch base about improving one thing that has been discussed a lot, and that is the Minimap. It's a complex change, and they are aware that the community is always talking about it. It's not an easy one to address at all, so it seems like that's going to take time, but it seems like it's something that they are also going to be tapping into with future updates. Now, also the biggest question that I noticed that he constantly got on these streams is that the game is just too easy. Does he think the game is way too easy, and what could they do with updating that? So they are aware of this problem, and Powell has had a chat with the gameplay designers. Now, he is not a gameplay designer. Powells is actually a lead quest designer, but the gameplay designers have been thinking about this, and that's pretty much all they have to say. You know, honestly, there's that New Game Plus leak that we would be getting, and I think if we did see a difficulty adjustment, it would come with a New Game Plus release or something like that. At least that's my assessment. Now, he talked about Witcher 3 versus Cyberpunk support. This has been one of the things that has been compared to a lot, is how much support Cyberpunk is receiving versus what The Witcher 3 has received. And of course, we know that Cyberpunk has already missed its free DLC window if you compare it to The Witcher 3. Now, it went on to say they're willing to patch Cyberpunk post-launch with adjustments more so than The Witcher 3 ever received. And of course, that's partially because, or mainly because, right now, Cyberpunk has had so many issues right out of the gate compared to The Witcher 3. So yes, you would expect that there would be more patches. So I feel like that argument there is a little bit null. Now, also, let's talk about flying vehicles. A lot of you guys want to see flying vehicles in this game, and to be able to fly through the city would be absolutely incredible. So they realized it was just far too technical of a problem to add in flying vehicles in a complex world that they were actually building here. So, you know, from that statement alone, honestly, I would not expect flying vehicles to be a part of this game in the very near future, or in the future at all for Cyberpunk. Would be really cool to see, but if they did add anything regarding flying vehicles, I think they would be on the slow end. That's just my speculation right there. He did previously answer a bunch of other questions that you might have missed, including this one right here, that they are aware that you guys are waiting for DLC, excuse me. And if it was up to Powells, you would be getting the DLC practically right now, but the DLC is definitely on its way. They just want to make sure that the game works extremely well, that it's balanced, and they don't want to overhype anything at all. Currently, they want to make sure that they market this one. I guess you would say market this one correctly. Perhaps they will just release it. That's another thing they could end up doing Apex Legends type thing, where they don't market it, they just release it, and then perhaps run some marketing afterwards. But yeah, it's interesting, some of the things he had to say right there. What's most curious out of all this for me personally is the fact that there's this organizational transformation happening at CD Projekt RED. And that sort of thing takes a lot of time, like no doubt. Restructuring, training, that sort of thing, getting new members on board and to have them cohesively interact with each other and other studios within CD Projekt RED is going to take some time. So yeah, I can see why things are taking so long to get released with Cyberpunk 2077 for sure. Now, also, this was interesting. This comes from another thread out on the subreddit, and it's an idea that was brought up on stream, and I thought it would be interesting to talk about it. Here it is right here. It comes from ThinkHunter4974. He says, I asked him about Mercenaries system. He says, hey, Powell, great stream. I really like the game, so I have a question. Would it be possible to implement a simple mercenary system akin to the one in Assassin's Creed Odyssey? Basically, when you kill enough of, let's say, tiger claws, they put a bounty on you. If you don't call the fixer and pay it off, they send a mini-boss type of enemy to hunt you down. I think it would make the game a lot more dynamic and make the world and games feel more alive. I just found so many cool places and thought, wow, it would be cool to have a sword fight here, but there's no way to do it. Powell did say this, thank you for watching the stream as if I did. It's interesting, however, I can't comment about anything we are planning for the future yet. Devious smiley face. And he says, so they might be working on this. He didn't outright deny. So it would be really cool to see bounty hunters hunting you down in this game, considering that you are kind of part of this like underground society. You're already classified pretty much as a merc in this game. And, you know, I think it would fit the mold of what the game already is anyway. Now, there's a feature that you guys really want to see. It's so simple. It should already be in the game, and it's just unbelievable to me that's not in the game currently. It's this one right here. It says it's been 6 months, and we still can't effing vault into Windows properly, and it comes from Struggle123. I honestly cannot get over that's not in the game. It's practically in every game out there by default. So hopefully we can see vaulting in the game in the future as well through Windows. So yeah, I remember playing it first time and I was like, wait, are you serious? This feels like a game from like 10 years ago or something like that. So that's one of my, again, when it comes to gameplay, that's a big requested feature for me personally. It's just a simple vault mechanic over certain things that are in the game. I think traversal needs to be improved, in other words. Alrighty, then guess what? It is time for your top comments. Remember, leave a comment down below. It could end up right here in a future video. So let's do this. Alright, so this was my last video right here. It says, massive leak reveals 3 huge expansions and free DLC for weapons, apartments, and more. Let's see what you guys had to say about it. Sinky says this. Let me zoom this in for you guys though. Bloop. Bloop. There it is. It says, I don't think I could have clicked any faster after seeing expansion. I really do hope the expansions will be nice and long because Cyberpunk was just too short for me. Way too short. Yeah, you know, they claim that they did that on purpose, that they actually wanted the single player main story arc to be shorter than The Witcher 3, simply because they noticed in their analytics that a lot of people were not finishing The Witcher 3 at all. So they're like, we want people to finish this game. But a lot of people dropped the game because it was so buggy. Anyway, we have Shadow Blades who says, the mirror could be appearance like changing your face, nose, and your chrome on your face. Looking forward to that and New Game Plus. Yeah, so in the leaks, there was something called like mirror. I don't know, some sort of mirror file. So I think you're right, Shadow Blades. I totally agree. There were also leaks beforehand suggesting that any character customization that you would do, they would simply add it in right at the mirror, that they wouldn't add barbershops or entire stores that you would go into, but instead they would just simplify it. Just throw it in the game, I guess you would say. Get it in there for the community. Alright, so Necrotix says the following. It would have been nice if CD Projekt RED could have at least told us about these, instead of having a leaker do it. You know, kind of engage with the community that they lost. I have like my own opinions about that because I think what these companies do is they have to answer to the board or whatever. And I hear what you're saying. I totally agree with what you're saying, first of all. But I think they put like these secret files in there so that someone can find it and then, you know, quote unquote, leak it. so that they can just get the information out there. Despite them not officially being able to talk about it yet, like their hands are tied, they could, somehow at least sneak the information out to the community. At least I've noticed that when covering games. That's how I feel it works sometimes, because there's some really weird stuff that they include in files. I'm like, that's so obvious. Why would they include that in there? They obviously want people to talk about it. Now we have some guy who says this: honestly, not that excited for anything other than the actual features being added. Cops AI needs updating, character customization, apartments, better traffic, better crowds in public AI, better impactful choices, updated crafting system, activities in the city, etc. They can keep the story expansions in the vault for now. Fix the game first. Exactly. And that's what they have gone on record saying, that they want to get the core game fixed and addressed first, the balancing, patches, all that stuff, and then they will get to the free DLCs and the bigger updates. So yeah, that's their goal. So right on with the theory right there, some guy. All right, there it is, the latest happenings around Cyberpunk 2077. Stay tuned for more news about Cyberpunk and open world gaming goodness. I have you guys covered. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Take care.